I'm going to go on the do's or don'ts. You give me any, there's my next item that I want every lakefront homeowner to know. Thank you, John, for confusing me. Remember, I wanted you to know what algae was. I wanted you to have different views. I wanted you to know what it looked like. Now, on the number one item right there, do determine where the 12.21 feet is on your property. Why? The public owns up to the ordinary high water mark in all navigable waterways in Oregon. The public owns up to 12.21. That is determine the average high water. Now, we may have to redo that after a couple of years, but that was determined in the 1950s. So, do not impact too significantly under 12.21. That is the state property. That is not your property. Now, how to find that? We just figured out. Our lake, say it's 5 feet, 5'9", if you're a good mathematician. You go down to your shoreline where the low water is, and you'll see, and you put a stake there and it says 5 feet. Then you put your ruler up to go up to 12.21 and put a stake there. That is the public property. Minimize your impacts there. Everybody understand that? If you do that, you can get a trespass, you can get a felon removal. I cannot help you if you go into that area willy-nilly. So this is the one preempt. Go out, and if you don't know, especially for all you new ones, like, let's just say 5, it's at 4.9, won't give you an inch. Go down there, mark it up to 12.21, put a couple stakes in there. You'll know where it's at. Minimize your impacts there. You can manage your vegetation some in certain areas, but prefer to call me before you do anything there. Everybody make sense? Please. For example, up on Black's Arm, we have up to a $6,000 fine going to a landowner, and another $250 one for a trespass. They had an excavator in the lake. So come and ask me, all right, if you need to do that, all right? Don't, I see some discussion over there. Can I ask? Can everybody hear me? Good. Did you not understand the 12.21? Did everybody understand it? You don't have to like it, and I see Vaughn just yelling at me. Good. That's important. The two pieces, algae and the 12.21. Above that 12.21, you have the 50-foot riparian area. That is your property that you should manage carefully to prevent what? Yeah, they listen to me, Ringo. No dirt in the lake. Exactly. Thank you, folks. No dirt in the lake. You're trying to minimize that. You always do. We can get your view by limbing up trees. But some of the things people cut a tree down, I want a better view. I guarantee you cut that tree down on a slope, 5 years, the stump's gonna rot, and the whole thing's gonna come down, and then you're gonna ask me for a wood retaining wall on the 12.21, and I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. I've seen it again and again. There's ways to manage your vegetation better. Right? If you cut the tree down, the stump's gonna die, and then your slope's gonna go. Now, hazard trees, I'm not saying you can't do anything there. If you have a hazard tree that could impact your house or structures, come talk to me. Okay? Even if it's in the 12.21, please come talk to me. If it's a hazard in the 12.21, we can take care of it, but it better be a hazard. It's not going to just be all my view. Yes, sir?
Can we get the state to come and clean up that part?
Boy, I'm trying. They do give me $2,000 a year to test algae, which is kind of nothing. And it is the Department of State Lands is the entity that is in charge of that area. Most of that is pretty self-explanatory, right? And the reasons are pretty simple, but you get stock dirt entering the lakes. That's a big one. Maintain your vegetation. Do not use herbicides and pesticides, although you just heard me say we're reviewing herbicides for weed treatment. Do your best. Do get state and local piling permits. Piling permits are required to place a dock or pilings. If it's a repair or replacement, it's only a small one. Everybody here could do a 3-pager. But to get, if you're planning on getting new docks, it's managed and you have to pay your dock registration, and to put new pilings in, you have to get a permit for them. I would never suggest trying to get a new, in fact, I don't even know if you can get a new piling in this lake anymore because of the state land rules. So I mean, when anybody comes at me and needs to repair or replace, right? Everybody say that, repair and replace. That's how you get your new docks. If you say new pilings, you're not going to be able to get one. That's not my fault. That's the Division of State Lands. Ask Kathy Reese and I sat at this table and we just got stomped. Although Kathy did a little stomp herself back at him. But anyway, next slide. I put that up there. Why? We didn't go mow a yard and put fertilizer. What's the number one thing? Nitrogen. You're just feeding the algae. Please, if you've got to have a grass yard, fertilize it. It doesn't, remember what I said initially. This is lakefront property. Do not manage it as an urban lot that you did back home, or I do in North Bend. Mowing my yard and fertilizer. No. You are lucky enough, fortunate enough, to own beautiful property on the most beautiful lake, and you gotta mind it. You're responsible for it. We're all stewards. Don't fertilize it. Next. Riparian area. We talked a little bit about riparian area. Come talk to me if you have trouble. If there's something I have to have my view or something, you know, just do not take an excavator to the lake. I can laugh a little bit about that, but I'm not too happy about it. Do not create unvegetated slopes. You know, here's another one. You know, if you gotta fall that hazard tree, I'm gonna make you wait until the osprey is done nesting it. Sorry. The one good thing is that we have lost. We actually do bald eagle and osprey nesting surveys, and we're actually growing there. Now let's go to the septic systems. All you new folks, one thing, another thing, like know where your system is. Know the components, right? Know when you got it pumped last. That's really all I want you to do. Know where your system is. You do not have a sewer line going from your house, unless you're close enough in the city. If you're out on the lake, you have an on-site septic system, or an outhouse. Outhouse is actually legal. All right? Check it. Check and see if it's working. Know where your components are. Know how to fix it, or know a contractor that can help you fix it. Are you going to volunteer for fixing septic tanks? Yes, Kathy?
I just wanted to add a comment. This is something that I've learned over the last 6 months, having to do with septic systems and leach fields. And it's a little plumber's trick that I learned from a guy who's been there over 30 years. Copper sulfate, you can actually put into your distribution box, and it will go through your leach fields and destroy any roots that are in your leach line over time. So if you do it twice a year, a cup or two at a time, it will help keep your leach line fields clean, which is the #1 cause of septic failures on the lake. You know,
Or
they're gonna invade it.
building a shed on top of your leach
Oh,
field.
yes, but
Know where your components are.
it's very inexpensive. The crystals, you can buy like a 40-pound bag for like $50. It's not a lot of money, but it is the cheapest way to keep your septic system clean, and Roto-Rooter will not tell you that.
It's just a couple
You have to dump it in the tank itself, or can you just flush it?
You can put it in the toilet. You can put it in your holding tank that pumps up to your leach fields. However, the most effective way is to put it in right straight up into the distribution box, which is at the beginning of your leach field, if you can find that. But yeah, if you can't for some reason, you can put it straight into the toilet. It just takes a little bit longer.
Try to find your components, know where they're at, know if they're functioning, know when you got it pumped last. Look in your schedule. Somewhere in your house, there's got to be a file that's showing when the previous owner got it pumped, somewhere in there. Or you should find something like that. That is a map of the systems. You should have that somewhere. If you do not have that, DEQ may have a copy of that for you. Know where that. I'll know where your systems are. And the reason I say that is all of a sudden you want to build a driveway, or you want to add another shed, and all of a sudden you don't know where your drain field is, and you build it right on top of it. You just permanently damaged your drain field. It's not going to function anymore. It happens all the time here. Know where the pieces are. Next. That top one. Do not place buildings, driveways, or trees on drain field. Right, I hope we got that part. I said it a few times. Watch your house. Remembering you're out on the lake, don't try to maintain it, and don't throw a bunch of junk in it. Stormwater management. See the next picture. I want to see what I did with the next picture. Oh, okay. Stormwater management. This is Lindros Arm, that picture was, and that is the pan shots. And if you've driven Lindros Arm or lived down there, about halfway down there's a bunch of trees, alders that are growing up in the middle of it right there. You see them? That whole, I can't tell you how much dirt came in when the lake's brown. So this was in '02. Mr. Panshaw, he's a county highway guy out of Benton County. He had his roof runoff from that house up there on a culvert or gutters, flexi pipe, stopped right on the hill. Stopped right here. There's three of them that stopped right on the hill. What'd that do? That saturated that, and now you had an island in Lindros Arm. Watch that stuff. Watch where it's at. You know, even if you're new or you think, check your house, check where all that stuff is. Because you're not going to get it back. That's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to let you put it back. I'm not going to let you rip-wrap it. It's going to have to stay that way. So those are the things. And also, we have copies of, mostly, we only have 20 copies, but hopefully some people have some copies on that. Control your runoff when it's going downhill, and you'll control the erosion. Next. This is the last one. Did we pass the water right one? Oh, okay, yeah, water right here. Make sure, another one, make sure your house and property has an approved water right. Please. What happened several years ago, I think in 2014, ODFW and Water Resources made everybody redo their water rights. They hired Harvey Wilcox and a couple other guys, and everybody got back this package from Water Resources. What they didn't do is they didn't look at it. This was not your permit. This was just down in deep into that paperwork. You had to show in 5 years the use of that water, or they took your water right away. So I don't know how many out there that think they have a package of permits. Check that. That happened a lot. They thought they got their permit, and in reality it was a big pack of papers, and they had to continue to monitor their use and submit that use paper to the state. I don't know how many people didn't do it. Someone had a hand up over there. Yes, sir.
We're a victim. I don't know if that's right. That's probably
Victim.
The place we bought out in February, I guess the previous buyer fell through because the guy didn't have the water rights, so then that sale fell through. The current owner then paid 10 grand to FARS to put in a ground collection system that was essentially collecting groundwater because we have a little bit of acres, so there's enough water to collect, until it runs dry, and it ran dry 3 weeks ago. And we are boat access only, 0 water. So I was like thinking, how do I fly in a drill rig for a well drill? I don't know how to do that.
Boat access only, that's kind of tough.
You can helicopter it in. Right? No. We got so we contacted somebody down in Bandon, a well drill company in Bandon, and they've got a proposal out. So it looks like we're going to be drilling a well, boat access only. That's going to be interesting.
Wow.
Make sure he watches his dirt.
Yeah.
We just took care of an issue on Lindros Arm that the well driller was selling his tailings and going down the lake.
Good point.
I don't know what to say. I'd be bottling water and get a well or
So
or
just
even
make sure you
roof.
got water rights.
And check your water rights. Check. There's somewhere in those closets or somewhere in a file cabinet. Make sure you check those. A lot of people did not do it correctly. And can guarantee it may not be this year or 5 years, but the state will come down and all of a sudden say, Mater gets all the water, and no one gets any more water. So, couple more, just one more. Do test your spring water well, please, please, please. Follow it all. Check your treatment annually, because boy, that's important especially if you're drinking down the lake, which I try not to do. And then this time of year, use water properly. If you're get you out water in your yard with our lake water, that's almost like bad as an excavator. I mean, you don't need to water our yards in a drought year. Next. That's a picture of 2000, and I can't see because Jen's up here, somebody's head's in the way, but Lindros Arm in the middle of the summer and beautiful, not a drop of algae in it. 2000, yes. Next, I think we're done. Thank you, that's it.